Hey, Matt, hang out. We're going to grab you in just a minute. And we are live.
Are we? Oh, yes. Yes, we are.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another special deluxe edition of the Ragin to the Vlogs.
Oh, I didn't even vacuum. I forgot to vacuum. We have guests and I didn't vacuum.
Well, I showered. I showered. We've got a really good-looking gentleman in the chat, but first we're going to throw this fucking intro and, or he'll in the background. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to say that.
What are we doing?
Yeah, what the fuck are we doing? Hey, watch this, guys. Watch. RJ Carter for that bump because we swapped out with him.
Oh, and say hi to Marmalade for me. I was like, oh, look at us.
We get to see them tonight. Oh, that's right. So tonight,
oh, that's right. We have we're going to see what are we doing tonight with RJ?
Tonight they're doing the CB4K auction over on Critical Blast, and we got invited, and I don't know why, but whatever. It's like, okay, cool. And tonight my name is Nita Manning because there's an M in front of my name. Right. But whatever. Well, I don't even care because I'm in the middle of an identity crisis anyway. Just take what I can get.
Well, it's like I think that also it's like because we were talking before backstage about like just how many people are watching us right now. Have since we started doing these vlogs, which I don't know why. What are you guys doing here? So,
what the fuck is wrong with you people?
But you know what? It's like because I guess it's like we also have like a lot of new people coming in, and I guess discovering us for the first time. I think it's probably about time we start doing proper intros of ourselves.
Oh yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and also you need to practice, you need to practice saying your titles.
You're trying to
stop
fucking with me, Daphne.
Or at least not before I buy you dinner.
Okay, well, fine. Well, Daphne, introduce yourself.
Okay, so hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, so I kind of think I know a little bit of something because I've seen a lot. So it's not like you're coming here watching two weirdo ladies just yapping on the internet. I am known for the funny animal fantasy Tall Tales, which you can see my lovely trade paperback right here. And
RJ just missed his bump.
Oh no.
Just missed it.
No. Well, he'll have, there are other bumps coming. We're a very bumpy show today. We're a very bumpy show today.
Yes, we have multiple bumps.
Yeah.
Lots of lady bumps.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh, yeah.
My bad. Go on, Lage.
I am known for the funny animal fantasy adventure Tall Tales, which I have a copy right here, and my medieval fantasy soap opera drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which, if you check out the show notes, you can check out the link to sign up for the pre-launch page for issue 4, which is premiering on Kickstarter March 14th. You could read both my comics online at talltalesonline.com, that's TILS, and eagleworks.com, EGOWORKS. And if you're watching us on YouTube, well, if you're watching us on Facebook and Twitter, hello. But if you want to watch more of my videos about pretty much everything art related and comic book related and making comics and art supply reviews and all that fun stuff. You can check out all my videos on how I make my comics on YouTube at Daphne Lage, Lage Art. So Nita, so who are you? Who are you?
Why do you do this? All right, so my name is Nita Lanning. I am the executive producer of the Ragin 2 Broadcast Network, and I am CEO and founder of Ragin Services and Promotions. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
There we go.
Is that good? I didn't laugh this time.
No. The more you say it, the more it's because what it is, it's like, you know, the more she says it, the more she'll believe it.
You can all just bow before me and call me God.
You know,
that's cool.
She's the boss lady.
Boss lady.
She's the boss lady.
Mm-hmm. I love you.
I love you too, Nita. I love the boss lady. Where were we? Oh yes, the chat. So hello everybody in the chat. Who do we have here?
We have Michaela Jade,
Mike Jimmy,
Skunk Rocker. Let's see, RJ.
Oh, hey,
Joe
RJ.
D, hey. Carl Witzman.
You know, everybody.
And Matt, who's in the back, too. He looks lonely. We should bring him in.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
He looks,
you know, it's like I said,
so
hello,
lonely.
Good morning.
Hello,
hey,
Matt.
what's going on, ladies?
Hey.
I say that. Yeah, I know that may be the nicest thing anybody said to you in a while. Hello, ladies.
Hello, good morning-ish. Well, it's more like brunch time rather than, you know, good morning. So
not here. It's still 10.
Right. Oh, okay. So for you, it's still kind of breakfast time. It's just going into when they're switching over the buffet. You have all
the hardened scrambled eggs that are now
right. Exactly.
You have to chip through them with a chisel.
Yeah, and the lukewarm, you know, hash browns.
Sweet. I love you, Mike. Thank you.
Oh, well, yeah, so speaking of that, let's do some really quick housekeeping. You know, even though I did forget to vacuum, we can at least do a little
can't see your floor, Lage. It's okay.
Right, yeah. You can see my nasty wires. That's you know, all my wires underneath my desk. So like I said, it's like the launch page for Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, issues 1 through 4 is in the show notes. I think right now I am up to 112 followers to, you know, who are going to get notified. There. So you can sign up for my campaign there. So when it goes live on March 14th, we still also have long shots. All, you know, it's like what was it? No fudge, all cream.
No fudge, all cream.
You know, it's so we have that campaign. It's also a sign-up page where if you sign up and you pledge on the first day, you get a poker chip.
Yes.
You know, so sign up for that as well. I don't think we have a date yet as to when it's launching. I think in about a week it's going to launch. So sign up for that. We also have Sam Vera's There's an Alien in My Toilet. You know, the Duty Adventures. Duty Adventures from Uranus.
Oh my God.
So you can, yeah, it's like, so he's, I think he has like either 15 or 14 days left to go on his campaign. So it's an all-ages science fiction story about an alien who gets stranded on Earth and has to survive the Earth's simple creatures. You know, so you can check that out there. Also, we have Bubba Patrol by John Anthony.
She-Hulk Satara.
Oh, okay. Yes, Satara. Yeah, I'm sorry if I did butcher your name.
Glenn in Monsterland from Kevin Philpott and George Medina's Wonder Duck. And Matt has something coming up too.
Really?
Live right now, and it will
last but not least on this list of illustrious campaigns. So Matt, what do you have for the peoples?
You talking about me? About me?
Yes, sir. Introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Matt Knowles. I am one half of INSYMMETRY Creations alongside of Steph Cannon. We have our campaign for Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects, Book 1, out right now. You might say, haven't you guys done Heirs of Isildur before? Yes, we have. This is the next story arc. So if you are a fan of Heirs of Isildur and our steampunk time travel series, this fits in line right after it. But the reason why this is book one is because the angle of this story and the way that we are positioning it is something where you can be someone that has never experienced a series before. You're going to be able to pick it up and right from the jump be able to enjoy it. You're not going to have to go. It's kind of like Star Wars. You don't have to see all of the Star Wars movies to enjoy The Mandalorian or Boba Fett.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
But if you know the whole universe, then you can, feel like you've got a little more understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good. So this is a good jumping on point for. I'm sorry for the look. You get fanfare from the Peanut Gallery.
It's all good,
right? So this is a good jumping on point for, I guess, like people who aren't familiar. And I am already familiar with your book, although I'm probably going to have to replace it because I lost it in the flood in October.
Oh goodness gracious!
So this might be an actual good jumping on point for me as well. Especially, do you have challenge coins again this campaign?
Well, so we still have the same challenge coins from before. We don't have any new challenge coins. But we do have a lot of really cool stuff. Like, for instance, you see the shirt that I'm wearing right now. This is one of the prototypes. We actually have foil shirts, which you've seen like with like Affliction and all the like the muscle shirts and stuff like that. But we wanted to do something different with our shirts this time. So we've got the foil print shirts. We've got crazy socks. We just did a Misfits Clubhouse and we did some socks for that campaign, and they came out really, really well and they were well received. So we decided that we were going to do them for this campaign as well. And then just last night, we reached a backer incentive, and we always partner with a leatherworking company called GB Leatherworks.
Oh, wow.
That does a lot of themed merch for us. And we just revealed Michael's Traveler's Pouch, which is a themed piece of merchandise that they're handcrafting for us, that any gamer, anybody who's a cosplayer, collector, is something that can actually work well with what you have. It's actually branded with our emblem on there, so it actually is really cool. We just put the graphics up, and just not even 5 minutes before I got on this call, I was just putting up a lot more of the graphics last night.
Wow, a lot of bespoke materials for a bespoke comic. Very nice, very nice. And for people who are not familiar, so what would be the elevator pitch of your book?
Okay, so for this one, for Perilous Prospects, it is an apocalyptic sci-fi story set in a steampunk world. The apocalypse has come to the village of Shadows Haven, and the only way to stop it might be through those who inadvertently caused it.
It's like, so people went, oops.
So at the end of our last few at the end of the Crossroads Conundrum and Nightmare scenario, you were able to see an apocalyptic event took place at the end of those stories. Where we start in this one is with that apocalyptic event, but at the end of the other stories, we basically saw it from the viewpoint of one set of characters. In this story, we show how this thing that happened with them has now affected the entire area around them, and how everyone is struggling to figure out, is there a way that we can stop this? Is there a way that we can mitigate what is happening with this? If so, what do we do, and who needs to be involved? And we really are excited about where we're at in the story. This is book 1 of 3. It's going to be 48 pages in this book. We are going to be basically done with this by the time the campaign is over in 12 days. We're doing this as a 48-page perfect bound book, so each one of these is actually going to have a spine on the book. So before we even get to the trade paperback, you're going to be able to have little spined books for each one of these.
So it's a premium format, I guess.
Absolutely. We wanted it to be premium format. As you see, we've got 5 different covers. The one that's on the screen right now is cover B from Chris Rao. We always like to have good homages. We've done some Garbage Pail Kid homages. This time, because we have metal music involved, we did a Metalocalypse homage. So we have that Metalocalypse homage. We did a reverse sketch cover this time. We already have white sketch covers. We're doing an all-black sketch cover.
Oh, wow.
So that way, if an artist like yourself wants to go out and draw on it, then you need to do it do it reverse with paint pens or whatever, so it shows up.
Wow, okay, that's an interesting, that'll look really interesting.
And there's your better half.
There you go.
Hey, what's up? Steph jumping in the chat.
Oh, she's in the chat too. Holy shit! I was off screen. I was looking at her picture. I was like, "There's your better half," and then that was great. All right, cool. Hey, Steph.
Hey. So is steampunk something that I guess, because I've seen photos, I've seen your photos on Facebook. So is steampunk something that you guys are like personally like interested in, or was just something you were playing around with for this comic concept?
That's a good question. So I actually really like, and we both really like the fashion elements of steampunk. I've been a metal musician my whole life, and I've done the black and I've done the goth and all that. But there was a lot more creativity and whimsy in there as kind of a logical progression. Like in my metal music fandom, I've become a big fan of folk metal from Europe. And it's still heavy and it's still intense, but you kind of have to crack a smile when you hear it, because you're like, there's accordions and saxophones and hurdy-gurdies in here. So even though it's insane, there's still an air of fun to it. And steampunk is that way. The reason why steampunk really became a part of this story was I had taken about 8 to 10 years off from writing metal at all. And I wanted to get back into it, but I wanted there to be more to what I was doing than just metal music. And I found myself going back to songs that had previously been written, but had not, they were just in like the file cabinet and nothing was happening with them. And I started repurposing them and changing the lyrics up and turning them into something new. And I was like, this is just like what steampunk is, where you have these old technologies and things that are repurposed to look new and futuristic. And so that allegory in my own life became the literal of the story.
Huh? No, and because you're a musician, does the comic have a soundtrack?
So it has more than a soundtrack. It's that there's actually 2 metal albums that have been created. The first book, The Crossroads Conundrum, has a 12-track CD where think of it like origin stories, like with Solo or with Rogue One for Star Wars. You're like, here's the Star Wars timeline, but if you want to know more about this aspect, go to Rogue One or go to Solo, that kind of juts off over here. The Crossroads Conundrum, we had 12 songs that did that. You want to know more about this character, go listen to the song, look at the lyrics. That's his origin story. We just did a campaign for Heirs of Isildur versus Tales from Nocturnia last year, and that CD has got 5 more songs for Heirs, and we purposely did that for people like that have never seen this story before. If they're like, hey, I just want to get the basic foundation of where we're going to go. The first 3 songs in that CD are the Perilous Prospects of Shadow's Haven, the Perilous Prospects of the Portals, and the Perilous Prospects of the Timekeeper. So you can look at those 3 songs and you could say, okay, now I have an understanding and a foundation of the universe of what this is without having to go back and read all these other stories. I could just listen to these, I could read these lyrics, and we're good to go. There's also 5 songs that go with our medieval fantasy series, Tales from Nocturnia, too. So we tried to, really expand out every IP as best we could.
That's so. Is writing music for, I guess, like your own comics?
Mega ultra
mega. Was that like what is that like a different process from like writing songs for like an audience? I guess like for a standard audience.
I wouldn't say that it's a different process as far as writing for the audience, but it definitely makes you have to pull on a completely different side of your writing brain, because writing lyrics is much more akin to writing poetry. Yes. And Nita, I know you know how to write poetry. You write some great poetry and you post it all the time. Poetry is very flowy and wordy and big and huge, and you want to try to create something very big, like verbally, out of a small concept. With comics, it's the opposite. It's show, don't tell. You want the pictures to be the big, showy thing, and you want the words to be concise and to the point. And it's always difficult to do that switch, because coming from a lifetime of writing lyrics and then saying, okay, now I want to tell the same piece in the story, Steph has to jump in and be like, okay, we're writing comics now. Let's make sure it's actually comics. Because if you go back to the Crossroads Conundrum, that started off as an ebook and then it was turned into a comic. So it's very much of a hybrid, where you see a lot more text and a lot more wording than you would get in a typical comic. And when Steph and I started working together over 4 years ago, she was like, hey, this is really cool. I really love this story. But if you want to make a comic the way you're saying it, you need to learn how to make a freaking comic.
Right. It's a completely different animal than writing prose. Yeah.
So she came from that comic world, and that really helped to take our ideas and take the big flowy ideas and find a way to make them be epic in comic form, which, as you can see from the art in the campaign, the art team we have on this series now is outstanding.
Phenomenal. I was so going to say that. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, Alessandro Ventura and Bruno Hang, they are kind of like the Brazilian mind of like how Steph and I are, or even you guys, or how Nita, how you are with Meredith, where they think a lot alike. They're friends, and they know how to work to each other's strengths when it comes to the pencils and inks versus the colors. And Alessandro really pushed for us to use Bruno. Bruno has got a laundry list of insane credentials from back in the day, and we look at what he's doing and we're like, how are we working with this guy? This guy's list of credentials is outrageous. But such a great guy, and it just has really done such a great job of helping our ideas to become more epic in the art. And it's helped us to, as we've gone along, change up the way we've scripted. We had our script before we started working with them, and as we started seeing the way that they were bringing that to life, we were going back and changing things in the script, because we're like, we don't have to say it this way. We don't have to do it this way. Now we understand what their style is. And so we have to go and alter our script to work with them instead of forcing us onto them.
Oh, but it sounds more like it's not only just like you're adjusting the way you work to them. I mean, it's a true collaborative effort. It's like you kind of know how everybody works, and I guess like you're making adjustments based on that to get the best work possible.
Absolutely. We have two different teams we're working on right now, because we still have Misfits Clubhouse, which is on Scout Comics, and Raheel, who is an artist in India, has a very different style than the guys in Brazil. And so Steph and I have these conversations sometimes. We're like, I wonder what it would be like if the teams flipped. Not that we would ever want that to happen, but we're like, we'd be writing these scripts completely different, because Raheel has a way that he works that is way different than the way that the Brazil team works. And so it's neat just saying, we really have to, in that respect, again, switch our minds to work towards one or the other.
That's funny. So
I'm gonna play the video real quick.
I was about to say, yes. Okay. Let's go ahead and play the video. And,
don't look at my YouTube history at the end of this, folks. It's none of your business.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon from INSYMMETRY CREATIONS. There's not much time. We've got some important information for you.
We've got to tell you about our brand new Kickstarter campaign for Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects.
This 48-page perfect bound book is the first part of an apocalyptic sci-fi story arc set in a steampunk world.
The apocalypse is rumbling through Shadow's Haven, and the only way to stop it might be through those who mistakenly caused it.
We are super excited to be able to unveil to you our brand new art team of Alessandro Ventura and Bruno Hang, who have helped to bring the universe of Heirs of Isildur up to the next level.
We've got super cool variant covers and glow-in-the-dark stickers.
And don't forget the cool shirts.
And as always,
a few fun surprises!
The campaign portal will only be open for a very short time.
So go to the quick link that's down below and back, follow, and share.
We here at INSYMMETRY Creations,
the imperiled citizens of Shadow's Haven,
and the Heirs of Isildur,
will greatly appreciate it.
That was a really good video.
You guys have incredible chemistry, amazing gear.
Yeah,
like,
really. The aesthetic is on point. Yeah.
And
thank you.
That's why I was asking if the aesthetic was personal.
Well, I can tell you, like right here, like to the left of the camera, I've got like 10 top hats.
Right.
I've got a pile of vests that I need to still hang up from the shows we've done recently. Yeah, I like it because it's fun, it's whimsical, it's something where you can be classy, like
you're always twinning.
Yeah. Always. That's part of it. We have to do it. We've got to make sure that people just can't tell us apart because, there's no size difference, anything like that. And I will say, part of the thing that makes it classy, I'm not meaning to go darker here, but like I completely understand and relate to the turmoil that's been going on in your personal lives recently. My brother just unexpectedly passed away last week, and Steph and I were at a show in Atlanta, and I live in Florida. Steph flew into Atlanta from California, and we were going to come back to Florida to do stuff for the Kickstarter campaign. And as we were getting ready to leave, we got the text message in saying, you got to call the kids in because it's not looking good.
Right.
So immediately Steph's like, you got to go to Charlotte right now. And I was like, yeah, we got to go to Charlotte right now. All we did was point the car there, didn't have any additional clothes, didn't have anything. Everything was dirty. But we just had to get there. And my brother passed away 34 hours after that text happened, and they had the service last week. But the reason I bring this up was I didn't have anything to wear for the funeral, even though it was casual, because everything was dirty and stuff just wasn't appropriate. So I had to buy a couple pieces, but then I was able to take one of the vests that I wear and I wore it to the funeral.
Right,
I don't care.
yeah.
He would have loved it.
It's multi-purpose. Yeah, I think that's kind of like the appeal of steampunk, is that there's a game that I play at conventions going, well, is it cosplay or is it clothing?
Yes.
It's like, are you just dressed up or are you playing something?
Yeah, it's kind of in between for us. It's a little in between.
But that's really cool though. But that's so with the music though. So how does that work? Do you expect people to read and then have the music in the background playing?
No, so I would say this, not normally, other than, so in the video you just saw, all the music that's in there is off of Heirs of Isildur versus Hellish Nocturne, the album. There's one song on there that is an instrumental. So yeah, if you want to listen to that while it's playing in the background, great. Otherwise, we normally have it where it's, read the comic here. Okay, now we'll go take a listen to this song over here. And so it's not normally like a soundtrack to be playing in the background, ambiance or anything. It's normally an extra piece where you can go expand the story outside the pages of the book. And we always try to make sure that it's set up so if you're a fan of metal music, you don't need the comics to enjoy the metal. If you're a fan of comics, you don't need the metal album to enjoy the comics. But if you like both or you want to experience both, you can put them together and get an experience that is not common in the comic world or the metal world. You're getting something unique.
Yeah. Now the prose book that you said that the ebook that I guess all this is based on, is that still available? Because I'm always fascinated by how prose translates to comics and vice versa.
So interestingly enough, the prose version never got released because we turned it into the comic. That being said, we've always had the desire to go back and actually create a real prose version of it, because there are some people that just don't want the graphic novel version of it. They don't want it illustrated. They just want their Kindle version, and that's totally fine. You guys see how busy we are. We just haven't had the time to be able to go back and be like, hey, let's sit down and the way that the prose version would be now compared to how it was written is so wildly different. Because we Steph, the first arc was 11 issues. Even though I had it all mapped out, Steph came in after issue 2 and added in her editorial views, and there were some things that changed. And then with the new version, with Nightmare Scenario and with the Perilous Prospects, Steph is a full co-writer on it. So everything is completely different, but that's good. That just makes it a challenge. If you want to go back and turn into prose, how would we flip that more wordy, more flowery style back into it? So that's going to be a challenge when and if that day ever shows up.
Okay, that's really cool. Because that's because that's something that I'm still currently like experimenting, like combining prose with comics and illustrations, and like how trying to get the right combination of everything, so that I'm not completely alienating everybody.
Well, that's one of the things that we've tried to learn. You look at people like Russell Nolte and Madeline Holly Rosing that have a full comic side and a full prose side.
Right.
To my knowledge, they're like saying, hey, if we're on the comic side, we're going to go full bore on comics. If we're on the prose side, we're going to go full bore on prose, and try to make sure that it's appealing completely to those audiences. I don't want to say mistake, but my I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for, but my, I don't want to say misunderstanding. But at the beginning, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this one book that's going to appeal to both the prose side and the comic side. And normally when you do that, you kind of alienate both because they're like, this is not a book enough to be a book. Right. This is not a comic enough to be a comic. They don't normally see, it as, oh, cool, there's just enough in here for me to like it.
Right.
So if we ever go the prose route, it's going to be full on prose. And as you see from the art in the campaign, we've gone full on comic this time. There's not, nobody's going to ever question whether or not what this is. It's a full on graphic novel. And we're super, super, super happy with where it's at. You said it's 48 pages in this book. We've had a lot of people that have signed up to get drawn into the issue, but we had to sell people on getting drawn into issue 2 because this issue is already basically done. We expect on having this thing done before 12 days from now when the campaign is over. So we weren't going to sell people being drawn into this campaign because the book's almost done.
Right,
and
exactly.
When we draw somebody in, we have to differentiate. Is it like a one-shot headshot cameo, or are we creating a character around them? We have a super fan that has basically gotten drawn into every series that we've done. And we have to create her a new character every time. So we're like, what are we going to do for Annie this time? Is it going to be this? She's been a medieval green-skinned monster.
God bless the super fans.
Absolutely. So it makes it fun. Like, she doesn't know what we did for her this time, but we've laughed every time that we've had her character pop up into a panel. But it makes it fun because, like, we know, hey, we're going to have these kind of characters, and we can either go create a just random character, or we could find a way to position somebody in there, and it gives a lot more ownership. People are like, hey, you see this? I'm in this comic. How many comics have you been in? And people kind of, we had a guy that was Heirs of Isildur issue 8, a guy we know named Thurl Hupp actually made it onto the cover. And he personally bought like 15 copies of that. And we'd be at shows and people would be like, just random people, hey, where's the issue that's got Thurl on the cover? And we probably sold more of that one just because he was on the cover than any other issue, basically, because they wanted to be able to have that piece of, of their buddy that's actually made it to the cover of a comic.
Wow. So Heirs of Isildur. my words. So we can safely say that it's a multi-sensory experience.
You got that. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You are 100% correct.
Don't do that.
Don't do what?
Add LSD.
Oh no. Oh no. We're not adding LSD.
Yeah, definitely going to be a drug-free experience.
We're not. It's like no licking the pages.
Heirs will be a drug-free and COVID-free experience for your ears and your eyeballs.
Exactly. So
we're going to throw a couple of bumps. Matt, do you want to hang out with us for the rest of the vlog, or you got to bounce?
We can hang out. We can hang out. Sure.
So so if everybody wants to check out the campaign, everything's in the show notes. So,
and if it's not, it will be before I post it.
There you go.
So here we go.
Hi, I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the host of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, and I want to cordially invite you to watch our show Saturdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. On our show, we will have different guests as well as talk about the comic book industry and pop culture. And every so often, I might actually do a drawing session or a 3D rendering session every here and there. So once again, I want to invite you to watch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher right here on the broadcast channel that you're looking at, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Hope to see you there, and make certain that you catch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks.
It's Monty Moore. I'm a 30-year comics veteran in comics, games, and movies, and you've been watching one of my absolute favorite podcasts, Catch the Craze.
You are watching Catch the Craze.
What am I listening to?
And you're listening to Catch the Craze.
Where are all the indies at?
A Catch the Craze podcast. What are you watching?
I'm watching Catch the Craze.
What are you going to do?
Subscribe now to Catch the Craze, the #1 show online for independent.
Have you subscribed to?
You are an independent. Catch the Craze! Making moves on your own. Catch the Craze! On your grind in the streets. Catch the Craze! Join the movement. Catch the Craze!
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It's my own. What are we? I'm not going to call you a co-host. I won't do that to you. What are you, Daphne?
I'm the other host.
The other host.
The other host.
The other hostess is on there saying it's the #1 in independent. Then you guys need to fucking leave and head over there right now because.
Right. Well, they're not on right now, so there's nowhere to go.
Daphne was excited. She pumped me up about that, man. She had me dancing. I was like, man, she knows what's going on.
Yeah. No, because Sam's a musician too. He used to do albums and stuff. So I love the music that he makes for his own shows. I think that one is my favorite piece of music that he does. There's another one that kind of makes me bop too, but
I kind of was like feeling seduced by Joe. That music, it was just like, is this casting count?
Oh man, no, and Joe's
voice, the masculine voice is all smooth talking.
Right. Well, he's got the smooth jazz show, kind of. You know, he's literally like the late night talk. Joe is like the late night talk show host. You know, that you see on like channel 13 or something.
Why you gotta put him all the way on 13, Daphne?
Because that's where all of the intellectual shows are on. You know, it's
yes,
like, you know,
yes,
he's the one that comes out, that he comes on after Masterpiece Theater. You know? But so let's talk a little bit more about that, because this is something that I've kind of been debating for a bit with the way that I'm doing my books. So the whole idea about crossing the streams in comics, and like, so I have this whole combination of things where it's like I have comics, I have prose, and I'm trying to like, how do I fit these two pieces together? And it seems that the more that I talk to people about the idea, the more it's like it doesn't clarify anything for me. So I guess your take on it is that if you're going to do comics, just do comics, and if you're going to do prose, just do prose. But have you ever come across like a situation where your prose is saying more about your work than the comic is?
I think that from what I've seen, what I felt is that with it being two totally different mediums, you're going to, one of the things about prose, you could have a couple of pages about a guy walking up the stairs. And the guy could be walking up the stairs and he's thinking about this thing. And as one foot, left the board and went to the next step and blah, 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 you get this big thing and you could be going through this entire thought process in that respect. In a comic form, if you do that for more than one panel, then you're wasting your art. Mm-hmm. So I think it's an apples and oranges thing. That's why I said when we go back and we do our prose version, I truly feel like it's going to be reformed in a sense, because there will be different places where you can expand out those thoughts in a way that you don't do in comics. And it doesn't make it good or bad. It just means comic needs to be moving a lot faster forward. Right. Yeah. Like, that's, I mean, cause that's what that's how I understand comics. That's a very, not compressed, but it has to be streamlined in terms of storytelling, where in prose you can easily meander and it doesn't feel out of place. Right. It doesn't feel like you're meandering pretty much, unless you go 30 pages. Then people are going to say you're meandering. But it's like, but I have seen but the thing is, like the challenge that I have though is that because I kind of work in both mediums, that there are certain scenes that I write out in prose. Oh, the Russians arrived. Oh, the Russians are here. Oh, okay. Oh, look at that. And they're wow. What are they doing in there? That's okay. I got them. Okay. Yeah, motherfuckers. YMCA. What the hell are they doing there?
So, because when I'm actually making a comic, I do both things. I do my sketching, and I do these prose vignettes, which last week I gave some examples of how I do the prose vignette and I work my way out from there. And a lot of the times I do these little prose vignettes and realize that it's like, I can't translate this as a comic.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to do it as its own prose thing either.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you one of the things we do, and one of the reasons why we say we feel like with the Perilous Prospects Book 1, it's something where people can easily jump right in, is that we will at the beginning make sure that we've done a quick prologue, and that will be all. It's either going to be all prose or be like more like illustrated novel, where people are just going to get the, here's a little bit of the universe, here's a little bit of the backstory. If you want to read this, great. If you don't, we just to make it a quick hitter. At the end, we always try to put some character bios, and the reason why we put it at the end is because we don't want to have any spoilers for people that are they want to be spoiled by where this character comes in or what's going on.
Right.
We put it at the end so that way, if they want to know more about, there were these two characters and they had this one interaction and Daphne's over here going, who are these people? And Nita's on the other side going, holy crap, I'm standing on my head. I can't believe those two people finally said something. My whole universe has been completely turned upside down.
And I'm like, what?
We want to make sure that is there so that at the end of the story, those people can understand the importance of that. And then if they want to go back and reread that to see that the significance of that moment, they can without having it spoiled beforehand.
Uh-huh.
So
and that's right. And that's also another thing too that I kind of like wrestle with is the idea of spoilers. Like, at what point is a spoiler a spoiler, or is it like, if it's like so down the road that it's like, does it matter?
So that's a very interesting question, and I will tell you how we approach that in this campaign.
Get it before we get there.
Normally, we try to not reveal anything when it comes to what's going on in our stories. This time we did the opposite. This time we tried to look at it like it was a movie trailer, in a sense where if you look at a movie trailer, most of the time, if it's an epic movie, the entire movie gets spoiled in the trailer because the company that puts the trailer together doesn't care about whether or not they're going to spoil it. They care about, are we going to find a way to get people interested in going to see how all these things came about in the movie theater? And that's kind of the direction that Steph and I took this time. We were like, we still made sure there were a few things that you guys have not seen in any way, shape, or form in the campaign. And there's a lot of art in the campaign. We wanted to make sure that there's nothing that there was still some stuff that we held back.
Right.
But we wanted to make sure, I mean, there's even some panels from like page 20. It's a 48-page book, but there's panels from page 20, page 25 that you'll see in the campaign, because we're like, hey, we need to show this so people understand what the art style is and where this is going, and hopefully they'll be interested in the story. So we really towed that line of what is a spoiler and what is something that makes the story interesting. Because if you truly give away the whole story, what's the intent of somebody? What's the reason for them, the impetus to want to go into the campaign? And funny you bring that up. We just this morning had somebody, there's a site called Indie Comic Conspiracy on Facebook, and they do Just the Tip Tuesday. And people always try to put good tips in about what goes on in the comic community. And 20 weeks ago, I put in something. A reason I know it was 20 weeks ago is somebody went and did a Just the Tip Tuesday search this morning, and people started commenting on it. And one of my tips in there was, if you are going to review comics, don't just go and open up the comic and turn it around to the screen and show off the last couple pages, because you inadvertently have become a spoiler for that comic and are going to make people not want to go and do that. So make sure you yourself as a reviewer are not spoiling the comic. Show some stuff. Make sure you know what you're doing before you go and do that to somebody.
Right. I mean, yeah, but I think that's kind of like a different, that's someone reviewing a comic. And I've seen people also do, like, they do page by page reviews. Like, they're literally reading the comic online, and it's like, But the thing is, you see, because that's the thing that I debate, because it's like the thing with the movie trailers, because that's been a trend for a while where they literally truncate the movie in the trailer, like there's a happy ending type of thing. It's like you pretty much can see. It's like, oh, and everyone jokes, well, why not just show the movie? If you're gonna put everything in the trailer.
Exactly.
And the logic that I read explaining that trend was that people who know the ending are more likely to see the movie. Like, if they know there's going to be like a happy ending, they're more likely to go to the theater to see the movie. Now, it's kind of like, well, I mean, it's like I mean, yeah, so it's kind of like something that I'm always kind of like fussing with. It's like, well, how much can I get everyone, like the audience, to know about my book and still have them like be interested enough? It's like, oh, you mean this happens and this happens? Well, how do we get there? Well, it's like you said, it's like, well, it's not the story itself, but it's the journey in the story that attracts people to it. Not necessarily like I think like there was a debate that I was reading where it's like, is knowing there's a happy ending, is that a spoiler?
Well, I can tell you one of the things when we did nightmare scenarios. So you have the Crossroads Conundrum and the Perilous Prospects, and it took a while for us to get back to the Perilous Prospects for many reasons. We were really doing good with Tales from Nocturnia and the pandemic and whatnot, so we just kind of rolled on with Tales from Nocturnia, and it had been a while since we had released anything Heirs of Isildur. So when we did the album and the splatter vinyl campaign, we put a small comic in there called Nightmare Scenario, because we knew there were certain cliffhangers that we had to answer immediately. People were like, I've been waiting long enough. Right. Give me this answer so that way I can know where I'm going to go when I get to the Perilous Prospects. And in typical Matt and Steph form, we answered just as many questions as we started, because we had people that got to the very last page of Nightmare Scenario, which answers some of the biggest cliffhangers from the Crossroads Conundrum, and they were like, okay, now what am I going to do about this? You better get me the next piece soon. Right. So they got that one piece answered, and they had that satisfaction of going, okay, there's going to be something worthwhile coming. But then they were like, what the freak? What else is going on here? This doesn't make any sense. But they're going to get those things answered as we move along.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's such a fine line, because it's like, yeah, they're yeah. Because there was something that I was discussing with Meredith at one point, where it's like my series Eagle Raven is 15 issues. I have all 15 covers done. Now, the question was whether I should reveal the covers or just reveal them one at a time, because being it's like one of the challenges of crowdfunding is convincing people that you're not just a flash in the pan, that it's not just the one issue, that it's like that they're going to see the rest of the story, that's like that you're not going to disappear in the middle of a series. Yeah. So I had all these 15 covers, and I go, should I show these 15 covers? Because I go, if you just follow the covers, you get the story. Yeah. It's like, not that I think I'm spoiling anything by saying there's a happy ending, but it's like, that's, like I said, is that really a spoiler? I mean, isn't that kind of what people like hope for in a story, that if there's going to be a happy ending?
Well, I can tell you one thing about you. I have never known anybody in my life, and I mean this in all honesty, I feel like every time I turn around, it's like, hey, I've got this crowdfunding campaign done. I just finished my crowdfunding campaign. Hey, I have this crowdfunding campaign out there. I'm like, didn't her campaign just finish? She's already on the next one. It's like,
it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
And it's about to get worse.
But that's good, though, because people know that, hey, this person is getting it. They're putting it out. There's a confidence that you are actually producing it and putting it out there, because you're not going to be starting, the next campaign and the next campaign and the next campaign and the next one without already having done something to fulfill the previous ones.
Yeah. I mean, because the thing is, in the end, what Meredith told me to do was not do all the graph, because she said that every cover reveal is its own thing. Because that's big in prose novels. That it's like, oh, this is the cover. We're revealing the cover. And I've seen some campaigns do that. Well, except there were prose novels. It's like, oh, okay. So I think that had less to do with spoilers though, and more to do with we're revealing the cover was its own fanfare.
Yeah.
So so it's like it's all these like little things that I'm still that I'm still debating, because I want to do I do have these prose sections, and then I go, oh, but I know people are getting the comic, but it's like, but I have this illustrated prose prequel that I know that people are buying, but they're not exactly reading. And then all of a sudden I'm like going, I have to do an audiobook, and it's just like, it just starts creeping into, okay, if I want people to read my prose, how do I guarantee that? Oh, I make an audiobook. So they're technically not reading it.
Right. Well, one thing too to always keep in mind is that campaigns and releases are all about focus dates.
Right.
If you look at like a focus date for when like an album is released, you may say, oh, okay, well, a month from now we're gonna release the first single,
right?
And then a week after that we're gonna release the cover art, and then a week after that we're gonna do this, and then here's the release date.
Right.
Those dates are just arbitrary. Those dates really don't hold anything other than giving people something to focus on what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
And if you look at a Kickstarter campaign, when are normally the two most active times? When people want to get in at the very beginning,
right,
and when people want to get in at the very end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why you have that killer plateau period in the middle.
Well, I can tell you, we actually, because of the reveal of the leatherwork yesterday, we actually shockingly had our second best day in the campaign, other than the opening day yesterday. I mean,
right.
It's all about timing.
Yeah. We had a whole week last week where we were basically off the grid because of what was going on in North Carolina. And it is what it is. So that's just on us to try and find ways to get that momentum back. And we were just really glad that we had the leather. We knew this was going to happen at this time in the campaign. We always try to put some specific things in the middle of the campaign, whether it be a cover art reveal or a merch reveal. And it really helped us to get back on track yesterday.
Oh, that's interesting.
With that leather work.
Yep. So that's like, I guess it's like a little Kickstarter strategy here in order to kind of like get through that middle hump, make a major announcement in the middle
100%.
Right.
If you don't have things to keep people interested, people are going to start backing off the campaign. I can tell you right now, this morning, there are so many campaigns that launched today. I'm just like, dudes, no more launches today. I can't back anymore.
Right.
We were tapped out. The INSYM account is tapped out on backing stuff. Stop, no more. But we feel like some people are so focused on, I got to go out and get new backers and new backers and new backers and new backers, that it's like, once say Nita backs the campaign, that we don't want Nita to become now a past tense person, where it's like, oh, Nita backed the campaign. Okay, great. Now let's go over here and find these new people and forget that Nita even exists. Because remember, people can back out of campaigns at any time.
Right, yeah.
So if they don't feel like you are still just as important to them as the new people, they're going to be much more apt to pull their back and go somewhere else. That's why every one of our stretch goals is always something that's going to be beneficial, like whether it be trading cards that are added in. We unlocked the leatherwork tier yesterday. Different things to make sure that the first backer knows, hey, they still care about the fact that I'm here. We do post campaign drawings where we say, hey, if you're in the first 50 physical backers, there's going to be a top hat at the end of the campaign that's going to have all these names in there. We're going to just randomly draw a name out. You're going to get an extra incentive, one person that's going to get added into your pack. And we try to do that so that people know, hey, we really do care about these original backers and the OGs just as much as we care about the new person coming in later on.
Interesting. Yeah, because that's the hump is always that it's always rough, and I actually shortened one of my last campaign for the last Tall Tales volume, because I thought, it's like, so at least if I cut it a week, that's 1 week less of the plateau.
That is the only what I found Meredith and I ever got in over marketing.
And honestly, I didn't think it improved anything at all. In fact, I kind of missed
payday.
Yeah, I missed having that extra week, to kind of like do a final push.
Right.
So it's like, so this whole idea about doing something in the middle. So instead of cutting out the plateau, try to make the plateau work for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I will say the one thing that we would always advise against is, unless you've got an absolutely positively damn good reason to make it longer than 30 days, don't ever do that, because
no, that's
if you make a campaign that goes over 2 pay periods, 2 credit card statements for somebody, then it becomes out of sight, out of mind when they're like, oh crap, 2 pay periods ago or 2 credit card statements ago I backed this campaign. I don't have any money now.
Right.
That's where you're going to see, unless you've got some major thing out there, you never want to have it be that long. I know some people have found, like Lori at Unlikely Heroes has really found that 14 to 16 day campaign really works for her. We made it 26 this time only because we wanted to start on a specific day. We like to end on a specific day, so that worked for us. But to make it go anything over 30, unless you've got a really good reason, you're just asking for trouble, because that's a lot of time to keep somebody excited about your campaign and not go look for that new, go look for that new, shiny object that's out there, the new shiny campaign that may take money away from yours.
I mean, like the pre-launch phase is hard enough,
right?
And it's like, and then like you want to carry, you want to like slowly build that excitement, but during the campaign, it's like to keep that momentum really going. I don't know how people do more than 30 days. It's like, I know that for Kickstarter, it's like it's kind of, it's like, now mind you, we are talking specifically about Kickstarter because Indiegogo being a different animal, because for that, for Indiegogo, they take the money out immediately. So there is no out of sight, out of mind. There is no, I forgot to pay for this.
Did that to us as an option. I'm glad they let us like pretend like we have that money now.
Right.
And so that when it clears, it's like, oh my God, are we eating ramen this week?
Right.
Coming out of the groceries. But like, I'm glad they allow us that liberty, but give us the option. Because sometimes it's just nice to know that shit's paid for.
Well, you see, the thing is, I filled out my last survey for Kickstarter, and that was kind of one of the questions they were leaning towards, about collecting the funds in advance as opposed to waiting at the end. So obviously it's something that people have been telling Kickstarter, that it's like, this is not.
But see how like the option for if it's not, because like, face it, a lot of us are fucking paycheck to paycheck people, especially when you have an army of freaking children.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the crotch goblins outnumber us. Like, there's those months that something's gonna pop up, and I want to pledge to it, and and the money just wouldn't be there until like the 2 weeks down the road.
Or it's
by the time I have the money, then I'm gonna forget it. I even was looking at it.
Or even worse, like multiple campaigns hit at the same time.
Oh, you mean like you and JD did to me this last time?
Well, sorry about that.
No, look, let me tell you something. It was crazy because we were sitting there, and I don't know what made him mention it. It was you, JD, and somebody else all closed out, like.
Right.
And it was like, whoa, how'd that happen? And he was like, what the hell did you spend? It was like $230.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I wish Kickstarter would kind of like streamline that a bit. That and what else did they ask me?
I will say this. I think one of the things that I really like to see them do is if you have, like, I wish they would have a database of here's somebody that pledged to a campaign and then canceled their pledge, or here's somebody that pledged for $500 and then
list I'll share with this.
The campaign trolls,
high tiers, and then go
trolls,
we've had a couple of really bad trolls. There was a couple that myself and another creator, won't name them, that at the end of their campaign we kind of sometimes will compare, here's the bad backers, and I was like, oh crap, you have that guy on your list, watch out, because that guy just came in at the end of our campaign and backed really high, put us over a stretch goal, and then never paid their card. So here's the way we look at it. Unless it's something extreme like, oh, we had $1,000 drop,
Right.
If we cross a stretch goal, even if we drop back below that because of whatever it may be, we're still going to honor that.
And
stretch
that's
goal.
how it should
Right.
be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Same with backer goals. If
Yeah.
you exceed a backer goal and somebody backs out, it's too late.
Right.
Whatever number you stated, that
right.
But it still sucks when you go to do that and then you've got you're like, well, crap, you know, we have to go invest in this other thing that we spent on, and now we're down $500. And there's been a lot of that recently.
And there was 3 campaigns I worked on a couple of months ago that it was the same freaking dude popping up in all 3, back in everybody's highest tier and pledging for original art.
And then they would dip at the end.
And then he'd dip.
Right.
And people will say, "Oh, I was trying to help you to get to that next level," or "I was helping you get."
No, that's not helpful. That is not helpful.
Don't be an asshole. And we see you. We can go in the back like these idiots. It's like we see you.
Yeah. The only problem is that we know I know
let me throw it.
What?
It's perfect time, Daphne.
Oh, really? What? Where? When?
Right here.
Yeah, that's
fuck you guys.
Right?
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, it's because what's worse is that when I read about how campaigns like people saying, I see this person doing this on my campaign and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing. Yeah,
right. And then what's worse is that even if someone pledges $1,000, you know it's a fake pledge, but you can't flag it or anything. And then it's they pull, but Kickstarter still shows your campaign as still having that $1,000 on it.
Yeah.
Oh, but here's what's worse. There's a reason why those guys do that, because they want to be fucking super backers.
Yeah.
And that if they do that, even if they pull out, guess what?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Nita said pull out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm missing something. Somebody getting smart with me?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's some things that happen where somebody could legitimately intend on backing at something and have a life event happen. I mean, if you would have told me last Sunday that where I would be at in my life today is where I'm at in my life today, I would have been like, yeah, that's bullcrap. If you would have told me that, that in 2 hours and 10 minutes last Tuesday, my brother would pass away, I'd have been like, no, you guys are crazy. That's never going to happen. I literally texted with him during the Super Bowl. We were talking about who he wanted the Super Bowl, and he's gone now. If you would have told me that was going to happen, I don't know. Just quick side note. I mean, there was a guy up there that was very helpful, a friend of the family that helped find people some airfare. Steph was like, hey, just get in the car and we'll get there. We'll figure it out. Her airfare was from Orlando. Her airfare was not to get back to California from Charlotte. At one point, if this guy wouldn't have stepped in, she was going to have to come up with $700 to come up with a new plane ticket. This guy, Otto, was able to step in because he's got experience in the industry, helped her find a way to be able to make it where she wasn't going to have to go sell her car to get home. But if he wasn't there, if she had things she had pledged for, she may not have been able to do that because she had a life event happen. There should be room for things like that in considerations. And we've had people that are like, hey, I intended on doing this.
Shit happens, life happens. These are repeat offenders that do it every time.
Yeah, and they don't ever message you and say, I'm sorry. Yeah,
nope,
it's just
never. No.
Yep.
So on that note, as we hit the top of the hour, don't be a dick on Kickstarter.
No, don't do it.
That's the lesson for today.
Don't be a dick starter on Kickstarter.
There you go. Hashtag. So do we have? So that's so we hit, like I said, we hit the top of the hour. I just want to thank Matt for putting up with my unvacuumed rugs.
Well, luckily your camera's not pointed at the rug, so you did a good job of keeping it off camera.
Well, it's an emotional state. Vacuumed floors are an emotional state for me. So thank you for coming. Thank you for showing off your campaign and joining us in this conversation.
Steph comes next time.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone in the chat. I hope you learned some. Remember, hashtag don't. What is it? Hashtag Don't be a dick starter.
Don't be a dick starter on Kickstarter.
Don't be a dick. No, like, yes. Oh, yes.
Hey, Steph, let me tell you, Steph wants to be on these shows just as much as I do. And we've even had conversations as early as recent as yesterday, because of the fact that I'm East Coast and she's West Coast. Most of these shows are set up to be convenient for East Coast people,
right? Yeah,
because she's got kids, and so a show like this, she's literally at the car line at school dropping them off, or an 8 or 9 o'clock at night is dinner time there. So it's either I do them or nobody does them, because she still has a life to have to lead there. But yes, every time we can get on there, and we definitely, I will say this, Nita, we definitely value the fact that, as you saw in our campaign, one of the last images when Meredith passed away is Meredith holding our book up from the last show. Like, we thought that was really cool that we were able to capture that image and have that as a lasting image from the last show. And I definitely want to say to you guys, I know it's tough to be on a stream. I know it's tough to continue to do the thing that you did with the person who's no longer here, but everybody out here really appreciates the fact that you guys are doing it, because you guys are valued in the community. You guys are valued in the industry. So to still be out here doing this means a lot. And there's a ton of respect at the fact that you're doing this. So keep on doing what you're doing. And
thank you.
And have a good cry after the show. I know you probably do need it, and I totally understand it. Believe me, this is coming from true respect. I mean, I can tell you, me watching any NC State sports event or any Miami Dolphins is going to be tough for the rest of my life, because that's what me and my brother did. Literally every day we talked about something going on in the sports world, playing fantasy football. But you know what? I'm going to have to just figure it out, because the world's going to keep turning. So I'm glad you guys are keeping the world turning.
Thank you. We're not just two goofs on the internet.
And yeah, if you guys want to go out there, my name is you see is tinyearl.com.
There you go.
HEIRS TPP1. That is where our Kickstarter campaign is. We've got just 12 days left. We've got a ton of great items out there that support the story. But first and foremost, we want you to go out there to get it because of the story. We like to create characters that you can relate to and universes you want to escape into. And we truly feel like what is there for Heirs of Isildur, the Perilous Prospects #1 is something you guys are going to really enjoy. And we can't wait to get it out there into your hands. So if you guys go out there and check the campaign out, we would love you long time. Not the way that Nita would, but just literally, figuratively. She's literal, we're figurative.
There you go. Yeah. So again, thanks everybody for in the chat for watching. Thank you everybody who's watching on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, and all the links, including his, are all in the show notes below. So if they're not there now, Nita's going to be putting them in very shortly.
An hour.
Yeah. So on that note,
we don't know how to leave.
Yeah, we don't know. So I'm just gonna. What? See, you got any words for the peoples?
I think she's talking to you, Nita.
Oh yeah. What?
Well, that's because she's thinking. But you know what? I got. Well, I got some words for the people.
Okay, give them to them.
It's like, so remember everybody, eat your food, stay moisturized, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake your accomplishments. So, all right. There you go. We'll leave it at that.
Yep. And then stay kind and stay productive. And hit the button.
Yes, hit the button. Meredith is watching and is judging you.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so we're out.
Bye.
This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the Legend.